most of the people that watch it don't read the books.
They don't read.
They don't read because it's America.
It's America. And in America, we shoot guns, drink beer, and watch titties. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. We are the cast in the darkness. Hello, Night's Watchmen. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Cast of the Darkness podcast.
Yep.
2, right?
2. Yep,
Okay.
Episode 2.
This week we have a special treat for everybody. We're going to be watching the first episode of HBO's Game of Thrones, and we're going to be commenting on it and providing all kinds of excellent insight. And we're going to be joined this week by a super special guest, one of the Unsullied herself, which means that this podcast will not contain spoilers.
As an aside, you have yet to introduce yourself.
No, that's fine. They know who I am.
Okay, fine.
I'm Matt.
I'm Clay.
And we're joined this week by Kristina, who just happens to be my girlfriend. So, Kristina, how about you introduce yourself? No, this is an audio podcast. In an audio podcast, we speak to the microphone.
No.
Oh, she spoke. It's proof there's a girl here.
There's a girl here.
2 guys, a girl, and a DVD player. Okay, so, Kristina.
Hi.
Hi. How about you tell us a little bit about how you discovered Game of Thrones?
Through you.
Through me?
Yes.
Vicariously.
Would
through
you
Matt.
like me to elaborate for you?
Sure.
Okay, so we started seeing each other about a year ago, and I was a nerdy boy, and she's kind of a nerdy girl. It's not an insult.
No,
Okay.
I didn't say it was.
Okay, good. And so I was like, hey, have you seen this really cool thing? It's called Game of Thrones. And she's like, no, I haven't. And I was like, oh, well then don't look at me like that. That's how you sound.
Again, using...
No. She hasn't listened to the first episode. We're not going there.
Okay.
And she's not allowed to listen to the first episode because I intentionally put a lot of spoilers in it.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And so I was like, oh, well, I have the DVDs, so I'll bring them over to your place and we can watch them. So we did. And what were your thoughts on Game of Thrones when we watched them?
Very confusing.
Absolutely. It took us probably 6 months to watch the first episode, or the first season.
I was going to say the first episode.
Yeah, the first episode. That's a really tough 52 minutes to get through.
I was that confused.
Every 5 minutes. No. Start over again.
Start over again. But it's the same people dying.
Yes. So you, for the record, have not read the books.
That's right.
You have only seen the 30 episodes of the TV show so far.
True.
Okay, so you are one of the Unsullied. You haven't been spoiled by these terrible books that go on forever. So luckily for you, you get to experience joy as you watch these shows, and not anguish at all of the things they changed and all of the things that maybe they could have done better. And
I almost wish I was, because then I could just enjoy it as the show it is, instead of being like, they changed
Comparing?
that.
Yeah.
Like comparing this. It's like, oh, but they missed this. This is the best line in this. Which we are going to do repeatedly throughout this episode, I'm sure.
Twice, I think. So I have a bit of podcast news that I wanted to go over. The video side of the podcast recently upgraded our equipment. We picked up some GoPros, and we are no longer using a really old Canon still photography camera and pretending that it's a video camera.
Pretending that a picture camera is a video camera.
So with that should come more watchable videos.
Yeah, our last videos, you can follow us along. You can't really see what's happening that well, so...
The cards were very difficult to see. Unless I could identify from a blurry picture by the art what a card was, it was really tough to know what it was. So those of you who might not be very well versed in the card game would potentially have been fairly lost, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that this will provide everybody with more enjoyment while watching the videos. Unfortunately, it also means that it's going to take longer for me to edit them.
Yes.
Because we have some over-the-shoulder shots, we have overhead shots. It's just going to be a bit more of a hassle for me, so we'll see how long it takes before these ones go up. Mm-hmm. I hope they'll already be up by the time you're listening to this. From here, we are going to just start talking about Season 1, Episode 1 of Game of Thrones. I'm going to turn it on. We're going to turn the volume down really low so that hopefully you won't be able to hear it and we won't get sued. And we'll just be discussing as action happens. Hopefully I have it more or less in the right order on here so we won't be super lost. The scene starts with 3 men behind an iron door on horses.
Yeah, walking underneath.
Now they're walking through a tunnel.
Through a tunnel, yes. Sorry, I don't know anything.
For those of you who don't know, these 3 men are men of the Night's Watch, and they're walking under the wall into the north.
Yeah. And then into the beautiful white, snowy area beyond the wall.
Yes. Iceland is gorgeous this time of year.
Yes. Actually, watching the show makes me want to go to Iceland just to see these areas.
I don't think that they exist. I don't think there's a 700-foot tall wall of ice.
The wall's not there, but this forest is there.
Okay, you want to see a forest in snow? Wait a month and go outside.
Shut up.
There's a nice forest right behind us.
There's even better one out by my place. But look at this area. Like, some of the areas in around the land, like, you get...
It's gorgeous. It looks like winter. I don't think we have a lot of listeners in Florida. I think that most everybody who watches this show knows what snow is. And it's pretty universal. It's cold and wet.
And cold. Some places it's not wet, actually. Some places it's dry.
No. Snow is wet. Because snow is water.
Yeah, snow is water, but the snow, actually, as it comes down, is really powdery.
Oh, yeah. But then it melts.
Shut up.
And if it doesn't melt, you die. Oh, first instance of other art.
Yep. So, dead people.
Will is crawling up a snowbank and now running away. But crawling up a snowbank...
Oh, and then you've seen the girl.
Oh, yes. The girl who is stuck up to a tree by a pike of some kind.
Yep.
And he sees dead bodies all strewn about.
In a very particular
very
way.
Symbolic way. Oh, it's the symbol of the others.
Oh, no. Is it really?
I don't know. Probably.
I have no
It's
idea.
a thing. And then he comes back and he's like, "Oh, Sir Waymar Royce, all the wildlings that we were tracking are dead." And he's saying, "We should start back. We can't go." And then he's saying, "Don't you think the old crows or the old bears going to want to see or know how they died?" I don't know how to talk.
This is Matt flapping and failing on this. So this scene's pretty standard. With the book.
It's not a good way to start the show, really.
It's a terrible way to start a movie series. It's actually kind of, the fuck's going on? There's these people go out, and then all 3 of them die.
This sets up the long story. This sets up, stuff that's going to happen in Season 2.
Yes.
But for Season 1, I understand the books start with this, but for Season 1, you're being introduced to 3 characters who are all going to die. There's no point in starting the show like this.
Mm-hmm.
Start the show with some Starks or some Lannisters or some Targaryens of some kind. Even you could have started the show with, 15 years ago or 17 years ago.
You could have started
Robert's Rebellion, just have Robert killing Rhaegar Targaryen or something, and then flash forward.
Yeah, you could have started with a basically brief history of the world. Start with, at this age, the Mad King did this, then scene of Mad King burning 2 people alive. And then you see the Lords rebelled, and you see a young Robert Baratheon fighting and beating Rhaegar Targaryen.
At the Trident or whatever.
At the Trident.
And, you could have any of those things, This scene...
We just have an extremely gory scene. We've actually gotten to the point where the girl is back.
Oh yeah, the girl that was on the tree is back, and she has zombie eyes.
She has the blue eyes.
The blue eyes.
And then...
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
You just went to Yu-Gi-Oh! On us.
I may have. It's fine.
So we'll make a segue into Pokemon and bring this back to the cool stuff.
Well, Will wants to be the very best.
Yes.
So anyways, we get to the intro, which in my opinion is the best introduction in all of television.
I would agree 100%. I think it's amazing.
The production value on this is amazing, and if you pay attention to the show, up until a certain point in Season 3, it actually tells you every location that's going to be present in the episode.
Yes. And
Okay,
then
so
we're over to
Pentos. Yeah.
Being all sexy.
I like
and
that
awesome.
they have this narrow C, and they have it written with the narrow C. I love it. It's so well done.
Yeah.
And it's like made of fabric and cardboard. It's so good.
Yeah, it
All right.
is. The song is quite intriguing. I found the song quite intriguing.
Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of fucking Thrones, Game of fucking Thrones, Game of fucking Thrones, Game of fucking Thrones, Game of... That's the theme song to the show.
There
Every
is
theme song
disapproving look.
has words to it, whether you know them or not.
Alright, we've gotten back to it. There's a fog-swept moor. And
riders are chasing a very familiar-looking young man. It's Will from the scene before. He's running away from the wall. I'm not quite sure how he got to the other side of the wall that quickly, though.
Yes.
He should have died of exposure or hunger long before he gets to Winterfell.
Mm-hmm. That's even never explained in the books.
In the books, it's never explained
How did
either.
Garrett get back across the wall? Because remember, this wall expects from sea to sea. There's
Yes.
no way to get
You'd
across
have to
that.
go all the way to Eastwatch when they were just in the woods, 7 days ride from Castle Black.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like months to get to Eastwatch by the sea, and then months again to get to Winterfell.
Now we have the introductions of the Starks.
Of the Starks.
We have the Stark
Oh, yes.
boys with
I'm going to go back to
Bran.
my show notes.
Bran, Jon, and
Rob.
Robb are all in the yard doing archery. Well, Bran's doing archery and failing. Then we have both daughters, Sansa and
Arya.
Arya. I was going to call her Arianne for some reason.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. Anyways,
They're
Arya
doing
doing needlework, and
One of whom is doing it poorly. The other's doing it well.
Which is a scene which is not for until like the 8th chapter in the books.
6th.
6th chapter in the books.
Yeah, because it goes Arya, Catelyn, Bran, right?
Completely.
I think so.
And there's a very young Rickon.
But all these characters are aged substantially.
Yes.
Later on in the episode, Bran is going to be asked how old he is by a particular Lannister. And he's going to answer with 10. And in the books, he says
7.
his very first line, or close to his first line, is, "This is the 9th year of summer and the 7th year of Bran's life."
Mm-hmm.
So, Bran is 3 years older than he should be, which means you would assume that everybody else is 3 years older than they should be. Except, like, 2 or 3 of the characters are multiple years younger than they should be.
Yep.
Joffrey and Viserys are 2 such characters
Yep.
that are reduced in age substantially.
Mm-hmm.
And then these 2 old farts, Ned and Catelyn, are supposed to be, like, younger than us.
Yeah, exactly. Catelyn's 28. Ned is 35 in the book series. Ned just looks old because he has white in his beard.
Well, yeah, that's right. Like, Ned's supposed to look wise and haggard a little bit because he's been to war.
Yeah.
Catelyn's supposed to be 28. She's as old as you.
Luckily, I don't look that old.
No, it's true. You look
that's
quite a bit younger.
The actress, her other proceeds, is an old witch in the Harry Potter series. And I mean old witch, because I'm pretty sure in the Harry Potter series she's like 100. Hundreds, yeah.
Yes. I would think so.
Yes.
It's just crazy to me that they aged them so much because there's so much they could have done with the characters if they were younger.
Yeah. That being said, then you wouldn't have, I can't remember Catelyn's character, but Sean Bean in the series.
Well, okay, you would not have gotten Sean Bean, but you could have had Michael Fassbender.
Point taken.
And Catelyn, you could have had anybody, really. I mean, come on, Emilia Clarke could have played Catelyn. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest, yeah, true that. We're at the scene on the hill. Scene on the hill.
Will is giving his last words to Eddard Stark.
Which there were no last words from Garrett. Eddard Stark just
he just said his own thing and then
cut off his head.
Which is funny, because after that, he goes to Bran. And he's like, it is the duty of the man who passes the sentence to hear the last words of the victim or whatever, the last words of the man sentenced to die.
But he didn't. Ice.
And Ice is way smaller than it should be.
Yeah, Ice should be a great sword.
Ice is a great sword in the book. It's supposed to be as wide as a man's head.
Hand.
So, head.
Is it head?
Head.
Oh, crap.
And as tall as Robb.
Yeah, so it is extremely short. Mind you, the thing is why it's so big is because it's made of Valyrian steel, which they don't mention in the movie, in the TV show.
In the TV show, I don't think Valyrian steel is a thing.
It is, because the dagger is made of Valyrian steel.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Ice is made of Valyrian steel because it's an old sword, and it's super lightweight, so it can be so huge.
That's correct, yeah. And then the Starks all walk away and
pat Bran on the head for doing a good job. Yes, there's a 10-year-old at a murder, at a beheading.
Execution
of a dude.
Justice, sir. This is just... The
king's justice.
The man ran away from zombies. He deserved to go.
Yes. Either by zombies or by Sean Bean, apparently.
Well, if that's your choice, I would choose to go by the hand of Sean Bean.
Yeah. Damn. That's the thing.
Is that really why they killed him?
It's because he ran away from the Night's Watch. He was a deserter. Yeah, that's what Ned is telling Bran right now, is that he was a deserter. And in the books, there's a big long thing. It says that deserters are the most dangerous men because they don't fear consequences of performing crime because they already have nothing to lose.
Yeah, they are. If they ever get caught, they're dead. So
that's
they
right.
do not. It doesn't matter what they get caught for. They're dead anyways, so they might as well do anything.
That's right. So
next scene is they return back to Winterfell. They find a dead stag in the road. The stag is actually not in the books. They never see the dead body. They never see the
stag. That's true.
Ned's stag in the books. They actually come back. Robb and Jon are having a race, and Robb finds the next dead body we see.
Enormous dead direwolf.
Direwolf with 5 mewling pups.
And I'm not sure if he says it here, but in the books he says, "I'm surprised that the wolf lived long enough to whelp." And Roderick Cassell, who's with them, he says, "Or perhaps she didn't. Born with death is a bad omen indeed."
Mm-hmm. More epic foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Alright, puppies.
Yes, so they find the puppies. And as they're walking away from the puppies, say, here we go, John's gonna see like a thing in the thing. And look, it's a baby!
Yay! My dog looks at him, and Theon says, "That one's yours, Snow," and walks away. You don't get the rest of it.
Yeah, you don't get the rest of it, like any of the epic stuff that's, like, you know...
Mm-hmm. Now we're going into the first scene with the Lannisters. But you don't know that they're the Lannisters, you just... Here's King's Landing. They're ringing some bells, and there's some weird
ladies with some eyes on their faces.
Eyes on their faces.
These are the sisters of the Stony Sept. They are the Silent Sisters who watch over the dead.
So should I know who these people are?
Should you know? God, no.
No, but even later?
No! I don't think they ever appear again.
Okay.
They are only for super nerds.
Yeah.
Like, even in the books, the sisters don't really show up much. Oh yeah, 2 beautiful blonde people are talking in the background. Let's get back to the Sisters of the Sept, though. Mm-hmm. The interesting part of this scene, they don't have a funeral for Jon Arryn in the book.
No.
Okay, we're done with the King's Landing scene.
Enter a crow.
Old Lady Stark is walking across a courtyard.
Old Lady Stark is walking across a courtyard.
And she's still walking.
Without video, without sound, this is a really long scene.
It is. Oh, you were right.
Yes,
it is in the book.
There you go. Enter the Godswood. This is the first thing we get into the Godswood.
Okay, so Catelyn is telling Ned that Jon Arryn, who is the man that was being celebrated in the previous scene, is dead. Jon Arryn, when Ned and Robert, Bobby B, were younger, they fostered at the Erie with John Aaron, so he was like a second father to them. John Aaron was very important to both of these men. We haven't met Robert Baratheon yet, but we will. But Ned is understandably very sad.
Mm-hmm. You're talking
because
second father, basically.
His first father dies at the start of the rebellion. It's one of the things that
triggers
kicks off
him
the rebellion.
Going into the rebellion, yeah.
Is the old Targaryen king murdered his father and brother, and that's why he joined Robert Baratheon more or less.
And the other half of the letter is that King Robert himself is coming for Winterfell.
Yes, that's right.
So, in the following scene, you have the great bust of...
Great bust.
Bust.
We haven't seen Dany yet.
Right to movies.
Let's not discuss great busts until we get to those scenes.
Anyways, we get to the
Great Hall.
The Great Hall, getting the great busyness,
bust.
Great bust, of them getting ready for the king to arrive.
Yeah, and Maester Lewin is just trying to make sure that all the preparations are being done. And now we have some half-naked men being massaged and shaven and haircutted.
Haircutted.
I think this is eye candy for you. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Does it really? Is that what does it for you? Is some half-naked teenagers getting their haircut? Maybe not so much.
Not.
Entertainingly,
Not quite as
not as
didn't
much
quite
as
meet halfway there.
No, that's true.
For the girls and the boys.
Well, later on, we're gonna get to see Theon get his dick chopped off. Is that what you were missing?
That scene is hilarious, by the way.
What?
Yeah, when they chop
don't
off.
show anything.
That's true. Although they don't show anybody getting their boobs cut off, so I guess there's that.
Oh, so we're even.
So we're even.
As an
That's what I'm
aside,
saying.
this is the greatest castle in the world. It has little handholds up the sides of it, so you can climb it really easily.
I know, like, if they don't want anybody to climb the walls of the castle, and really, you probably don't want people climbing the walls of your castle, don't put little handholds there and little platforms to put your feet.
By the way, the dog in this is hilariously cute.
Oh, yeah.
As he's following
Summer
around.
is amazing.
Summer is hilarious in these scenes.
Yeah.
He's super cute.
There was a thing I was going to say, and I lost it. I don't remember what it was about.
You were talking about dicks being chopped off. Sorry.
No, it wasn't about dicks being chopped off, and I think it wasn't about... Oh, it was about the half-naked teenagers. In the books, the Stark boys are 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Rob and John are both 14 because Ned impregnates Catelyn, then goes off to war. Theon is supposed to be 5 years older than them. He's supposed to be 19 years old, but he's casted the same age, more or less.
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby B!
Bobby B has made his entrance.
We got a big fat guy.
The king is in, everyone's kneeling, it's awesome.
So we have ourselves a really angry-looking, gigantic,
very
fat man.
angry-looking, extremely fat Mark Addy. Wait for it. Wait for it. And you've gotten fat.
Yeah, that might be the best line of the episode.
And this sort of the eyebrow raise from Ned.
Oh,
and they both sort of laugh and start hugging, and everyone's like, oh, okay, this is actually them just being jokes. So you are talking two men that have grown up years together.
Yeah, and I mean, Bobby B is supposed to be in his early to mid-30s as well. No. I don't understand the casting. Like, I get that in order to age the children, they had to age the adults some.
Yes.
But it's like they made a conscious choice to make the adults so much older. Mm-hmm. Oh, and now we're in a dark dungeon. Derp, derp, derp.
The graves under the rock.
Do you have anything to add to this conversation?
No.
Okay, that's...
Well, you're just comparing the...
It's true, at this... Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking about, like, the casting of the actors. I mean, other than the fact that we feel as though the characters are aged wrong, what do you feel about the casting of the actors so far? Like, do you like the people that they cast?
Yeah.
Is there anybody who you wish had been cast differently? Like, for the character that you've seen on the TV show, are there any actors that you feel as though they don't really fit?
I don't think so.
I mean, personally, I have one that I can think of. It's Osha the Wildling.
Yeah, I don't like Osha.
I don't love the casting that they did for her.
Picking that out, I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah, I don't like Osha.
I mean, mostly, I think it's because I can't stop seeing Tonks from Harry Potter.
Yeah, that might be it.
But otherwise, I mean, she just wasn't the kind of, I don't know, look that I was expecting. Okay, so Bobby B is angry again.
Is angry again and wants Ned to come run his errand. Oh, yeah, now we're to the northern whorehouses.
Yes.
Jamie looking for the
His
women.
brother. And here's
Enter my
Tyrion
favorite
Lannister.
character.
Oh, my favorite character as well. And he's having a good time. As
He's getting good,
Fine whale, fine women.
Mm-hmm. And there we go.
Is this Roz?
This enter Roz.
Okay, see,
this is Roz.
It doesn't look like Roz to me. But, I mean, I'll take your word for it.
And enter in my opinion, the most useless character.
Well, okay, I've discussed this a lot. There's no reason for this character to be in the show except to have an excuse to show someone's nakeds.
Yeah, I actually...
But she doesn't have red hair. She has brown hair.
She's red hair. That's Roz.
It's not Roz.
I'm certain that's Roz.
Okay, we're going to see Roz in the next episode, and I'm going to tell you, you're going to be wrong.
Watch it right now. I'll tell you it's Roz.
I don't think so. Okay, if you're listening to this podcast, then you can tell us definitively whether or not the actress who plays the whore in the first episode is the same as the actress who plays Roz for the rest of this next few seasons. Mm-hmm. You let us know. And if I'm wrong, you almost saw something there.
You almost saw.
Even HBO doesn't want us to see, I don't think.
Wait for it, and
oh, that's right.
More titties.
That's right, because he says, well, I knew that you were going to be whoring around, so we might as well get it over with before the feast.
Yeah, don't leave me alone with these people.
It's a good
and, of course, the awesome line as he leaves, shut the door, and he doesn't.
And he doesn't.
Leaves the door to the whorehouse open.
It's just one more scene that's in the show for no reason, though.
Yeah.
Like, every Lannister scene so far has been for no reason.
No reason, no, just... And this is introduce Tyrion, he likes his women. And his alcohol.
There are good Lannister scenes that they could have included.
I'll agree with that they're useless, because it took me a long time to like any of those characters, and I think it's because at the beginning...
They don't do anything.
Yeah, like, all their scenes are kind of pointless.
Pointless, it's true. I mean, like, all the rest of the characters have these great, either emotional moments or just growth moments, even through the first couple episodes.
Because there's none in the book. There's no growth for the Lannister characters in the book in these first few scenes. It is all the Starks, all either Catelyn, Stark, or the scene with Daenerys, which we have just got to.
Yes, the line reads, Pentos, across the narrow sea, and we see a very innocent-looking young girl with shockingly dark eyebrows.
Shockingly dark eyebrows for her white hair.
Staring out at the narrow sea towards Westeros, we can only assume.
Yeah, so here he...
oh my god, he's creepy looking.
Oh my god, that was Slash's smile.
Oh, Westeros. Yeah, you're gonna die so good.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love that scene.
So, the thing that I find very interesting is they aged the character a lot, because otherwise it's really wrong.
It's extremely icky,
But the actress is doing an incredible job of putting on the innocence of the character. Mm-hmm. Like, Daenerys is so innocent and naive in this season, in this series even, right up until the point where she accepts her position as Khaleesi.
Yeah.
She's so innocent that she doesn't really understand the things that are happening to her, rather than her ability to make things happen for herself.
That is a full frontal shot.
And look, that is the face of a woman who has been victimized and sexually assaulted for years.
Exactly.
She just puts on the robot face and lets her dirty brother do what he wants to her boobs. I don't know. In the book, she fears and reveres him. Mm-hmm. Because she doesn't really know any better up to that point. But this kid right here, it might be the acting or the writing, I don't know. But he is nobody to be feared or revered. Mm-hmm. He's just a dirty pervert.
Just kind of creepy.
Just super creepy.
Just super creepy.
Like the smile when he walks in and he looks at her and he's all like the Joker, kind of.
The Joker kind of.
He's just...
complete slasher grin and just like rape face.
And they cut out a good line from the book here. The handmaiden that was with her... Oh, no. She was right there. Okay, she was like, oh, wait, it's too hot, is what she says, right?
Yeah, it's too hot.
And then Danny's like, I don't feel the heat. I feel it cleansing me, which, again, is foreshadowing.
Yeah, more epic foreshadowing.
Very good. Mm-hmm. And so now we get to second part of Daenerys 1.
Daenerys 1, yeah.
Where they're standing outside waiting for Khal Drogo, and she might as well not be wearing clothes.
Yep. Because
it's the most see-through dress I think I've ever seen, short of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Some Halloween costumes are that revealing.
Yep.
But not much real clothes. But I guess in a lot of ways it's understandable contextually because Viserys is trying to sell his sister
first shot of
to
Jason
Khal
Momoa,
Drogo for what?
First shot of Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa, one of the dreamiest dreamboats in the series. His reign was too short, I believe.
Again, creepy.
Super creepy.
Creepy Viserys scene.
And then Khal Drogo just prances around, looks at her, and then he's gonna just
leave
right away. So
Maester Illyrio, by the way, the
Magister,
I call him Maester. Magister Illyrio. I like the casting for it. I like the actor because he seems like the character that would literally sell anyone for anything, right?
Yeah, I agree.
With the character for is like he doesn't care. He will sell anything to anyone for anything, just
as long
because
as there's a profit.
As long as there's a profit, and just because he can.
Oh, and Khal Drogo took a good long look at her and rode away.
Peace. And then Viserys once again being creepy.
Did he like her? Did he like her? If he didn't like her, you'd know.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a good line.
It's a really weak scene in the first show.
It's one of the weakest scenes in the show, I think, in this episode. The Cersei and Jaime scene at the start is the weakest, for sure.
Because there's nothing to it. It's, what is this?
And here he's saying, I would let his entire army have their turn with you if it got me my throne.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know.
In his creepy voice.
It's super creepy.
And then he kisses her on the head.
Because he loves her.
Also creepy.
And then Sansa is...
Sansa wants to go south in the scene?
She's excited because she's... Is she going to be engaged to Joffrey? Did she learn that she's going to be engaged to Joffrey? And she's worried that he's not going to like her? I think that's what's happening.
Yes.
This is hard with the sound off.
Yes.
We are not Kevin Smith, apparently.
No, I believe so. Yeah, I believe this scene... Yes, because in the scene in the dungeon, he's just like, yeah, we'll marry my daughter.
We'll merge our houses.
And yeah, this is Sansa being like, but what if he doesn't like me?
And then Catelyn's like, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to make little prince and princesses or whatever. Yeah. Prince and princess.
Oh, this dude is awesome. The dude with
he's
a meat
the
cleaver.
worst butcher
Doesn't
ever.
know how to use a meat cleaver. It's so awesome.
And then
so funny.
Bobby B is going to start dancing with a wench.
Start dancing with an ale wench?
Yeah. Because, here we go. Dancing with an ale wench. He's going to kiss her. And then Cersei just sits there.
Yeah, I have a stone face. John beating the shit out of a
training dummy.
Yeah. And Edger Benjen.
Benjen Stark, who we haven't met yet, and I think Ned mentions him in the scene in the Godswood. Says we should invite Benjen, he'll want to be here when Robert gets here. That happens in the book, I don't know if it happens in the show.
I can't remember if that happens in the show.
Otherwise, we don't really know who this weird-looking guy is.
Who looks kind of like the rest of the Starks, same color hair.
He looks like the rest of the Starks except for Ned. Because Ned doesn't actually look like any of the Starks.
Yeah. That is true.
But, Benjen Stark, the man here, he is the younger son of Eddard.
Youngest.
The younger, because there was only 3 brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Younger
there
son.
Was Brandon, who was the older son. Then Eddard, and then Benjen was the younger son. And Lyanna was between Eddard and Benjen.
That's right.
and Lyanna was originally betrothed to Bobby B, who there was a scene earlier where they went and Robert Baratheon lit a candle on her tomb underneath Winterfell.
Put a feather.
A feather, whatever it is. It's the same thing. A token.
A token.
And then, so Benjen here talking to Jon. He's, said the Night's Watch is pretty hip. Mm-hmm. Black is slimming.
Black is slimming.
And then Jon's like, I want to go to the Night's Watch. I want to go to the Wall. And Ben's like, no, until you've had sex with a woman, you're not allowed to go to the Wall.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's why it's weird, but it's true. Like, I don't know. He's like, until you've bedded a woman, you won't know what you're giving up. And Jon's like, I don't care. I don't like these people. I want to go to the Wall. And so Benjen's like, well, I'll talk to your father. And then walks away. And Tyrion Lannister, the imp, comes up to Jon. He's like, you're the bastard of Winterfell, aren't you?
What is with that accent?
It's my Harry Potter accent.
I'm done with you.
No, you're not. That's fine. And so Jon's like, oh, don't call me that. And so Tyrion is here to teach Jon a lesson about what it means to be a bastard. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you have no value. It means that you have to make your own value. Mm-hmm. And Jon's like, well, what do you know about being a bastard? And Tyrion retorts with, all dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes. Mm-hmm. Which is a very good line, admittedly.
Yeah. Then the scene just ends out. In the books, there's one more line.
Yes. And the line that Tyrion says after that is, all dwarves may be bastards, but not all bastards need be dwarves.
Which is the lesson that he's teaching Jon at that point is, listen, even though you're a bastard, you're not a dwarf, you're not a monstrosity. You are still able-bodied fighter.
That's right.
You can make your worth.
You can make your own life.
Yeah.
You haven't had it decided for you at birth.
Yeah. A scene where Jaime and Ned come together. They have a meeting. Remember, Ned hates Jaime.
So earlier today, I had a cheesesteak. And then I bought a Walkman.
Like fancy Walkman?
Sort of. Such a... I agree with you, Kristina. It's really easy to not... I thought you were over there putting the paper towel away.
I was like, is he just pretending I'm sitting there?
No. It's real... That's right, I'm still talking to the direction
to the thing.
It's really easy to not care about the Lannisters because...
There's not even any fun scenes with the Lannisters.
Not...
All of the fun scenes, like Arya throwing the food at Sansa and then Robb going and taking her away, being like, bedtime, and taking care of his sisters. All those fun scenes are all with the Starks. They're all like, the Starks are the cool people in the show.
And it's why so many people assume that the Starks are the protagonists of the series. They're the stars of the show. They're the principals. Mm-hmm. Which...
is mostly incorrect, actually.
It's a red herring, unfortunately.
Yeah, very much so.
You could say Arya might be.
Arya.
Sansa might be.
Sansa. They're the ones in the TV show. They're the ones that you really got to follow because they're the ones that have the important bits in the TV show. Sansa, Arya, and Jon.
Robb does some stuff.
But it's all off camera.
Yeah.
It's not on camera. Everything Robb does, you learn about after the fact. Yes. Later on, when all of the fights, all of the battles he does, after it's finished. So the scene when a letter arrives to Ned and...
And this is one of the reasons why I wish they hadn't aged these characters so much. Because this is a great scene in the books, because it shows the difference between the Starks and the Tullys of Riverrun.
That's a good point.
They're both, like, they just finished having sex. And they're both naked as the day they were born. And Ned walks up to the window and opens the window to get some fresh air. And Catelyn has to pull all the furs up tight to her in order to keep from getting cold. Mm-hmm. It really demonstrates how these two such different people can be, a team together. Because one of them is really hard and the other one is, let's face it, really soft.
Yes, very soft. and very driven by her emotions.
Super emotional. She's probably a Pisces.
Yeah.
He is definitely like a Leo or something.
Yeah, he's just all man. That's
That's a bad combination, man.
Leo and Pisces?
Yes.
Yeah. Ends badly.
But let's be honest, this is a bad combination.
This is a bad combination. But that being said, in the books, the two of them are, despite the differences between them, and you really learn about it in the scene, how the two of them are so different, that she compares him to snow. Or
That's
him
right.
to the cold.
The cold.
And the fact that they even have warm parts between them, so that they even share a common ground. Because in the books, it's very much the two of them together.
Yes.
They are together forever.
That's right.
It's a very solid love bond between the two of them.
Which is ironic considering they very, very much did not love each other when they got married.
No, they didn't. They actually, to the point of...
She hated him.
And he...
just married her because it was his duty.
It was his duty. He felt it as
That's
a duty.
his entire life, his duty.
Duty, right?
Duty.
We all had a giggly moment.
We're 12.
Alright.
Okay, so on to a scene that shouldn't happen yet. Daenerys and Khal Drogo are getting married. Well, they just got married. They're having the feast and the presentation of gifts.
Yes, because, that's important.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah. What?
I don't know if I knew that the first time.
Oh, that they had just got
They
married?
just got married?
Yeah, this is the wedding feast.
This is the wedding feast. This scene is the wedding
I'm
feast.
pretty sure I got it when she started receiving the gifts.
Right, yeah, sure. But otherwise, there's no way of knowing.
That is actually quite true. I didn't even think of that before, because I already know this is a wedding feast. That's very obtuse, this is a wedding feast. It's really just...
It's
a party.
A party.
A party, and there's people having sex in front of you.
Viserys is...
complaining about how he's not going to get his army right away, really.
And there's a lot of gratuitous
just
writhing.
Titty shots.
Just
titty shots and writhing.
Bunch of titty shots.
There's some twerking. That was full on
Miley
twerking.
Cyrus.
That was Miley Cyrus twerking. And now
just
full
straight
intercourse.
fucking. But the dudes still have their pants on.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see Wang.
That's right. Like, you can see all the titty you want. And, okay, let me just say this. In the Dark Ages, there would not be pussies shaved like there are in this show.
I know, right? There's no bush.
There is no bush in this show, which is, like, one could argue the merits, whatever. But if you're going to be historically accurate, you should not have porn stars doing the nude scenes because none of them are au naturel, so to speak. Oh yeah, and then this dude's intestines and whatever.
It gets unseened. And you see a very important scene, because you see the man making a point of cutting off
the braid.
The man's braid, which was the thing about the... You learn a bit about braid. The Dothraki there.
Yes, when you lose your braid.
Yeah.
Khal Drogo is described as having a braid that goes all the way down to his thighs. Jason Momoa's braid goes like halfway down his back?
Yeah.
It goes to his butt. That's true. It is long enough. Okay. I never really noticed.
Yeah. The thing is Jason Momoa, the scenes with him in it, I'm pretty sure he has it mostly tucked away. Like, it's mostly, like, wrapped up somewhere.
Like Liam Neeson does.
Liam Neeson does, yeah. Throws it over his shoulder.
That's right. Liam Neeson has a large penis. Historically speaking, among the greatest. Him and Michael Fassbender. Which is why I had suggested Michael Fassbender for a Stark.
Yeah,
because then they could do the nude scene with him against the wall or whatever, and you just see like a baby's arm hanging between his legs. Just like an elephant trunk in front of him.
Elephant trunk hitting back between his knees.
And then you would get the penis that you've been so richly denied.
Oh!
Thoughtful.
I try and do good things for all of those I care about.
Oh my god, the penis you've been denied. Oh, that's such a funny joke, man.
See, this is the part that you learn. It's a wedding.
That's right, yes. They're giving her the wedding gift. Specifically, the dragon eggs that Magister Illyrio presents to her.
The very wanton look on
Viserys'
face being the extreme jealousy that he sees in her getting all these gifts.
Yeah, he is the worst.
Mm-hmm. And comes the fun scene of the horse.
Best. She has no idea what she's doing. He's just walking away from her, and she's like, I guess I'm following him?
And she just sort of wanders off.
But she's so naive and innocent. Like, she's acting there's some gratuitous boob.
Yep.
She's just acting incredibly young.
Yeah.
And
do I follow him? What am I doing?
Which is accurate for the character. It makes a lot of sense. Like, I love her acting job here.
She does a fantastic job here. And then she walks up and there's Drogo with this beautiful white horse.
Which, to a Dothraki, is the only gift worth giving.
A horse,
This is that's what you learn about the Dothraki, is that as long as you have a horse, you have worth. And,
and the other part you learn is a very important scene. Is she asks, at that point, she would have met Jorah Mormont at this point, what is thank you in Dothraki?
And they don't have a
word for
that. They
don't have a word for thanks.
That's right. Because you just take what you deserve.
You take what you deserve. It is yours.
That's right.
Mine by right!
That's right.
Sorry.
By fire and blood, almost.
By fire and blood. I'm channeling a bit of Stannis there.
And a little bit of Greyjoy, too.
Yeah. Well, no, Stannis is... The Iron Throne is mine by right.
The Dothraki take theirs by paying the Iron Price. Daenerys is about to get raped.
Yes. Oh, yes. And that's the thing. Is in the books, it's not described as rape.
It so is. I read it over again.
It's
rape. There's no question it's rape. She says no twice.
Oh, that's right. Anyways, still being raped. There's a funny line in it, though.
Oh, yeah? What's that? Oh, do you know the common tongue?
Do you know the common tongue?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, let's face it. None of us really want to watch a 13-year-old girl crying getting raped by a 30-year-old man. I mean, this is not a pleasant scene to watch. It's just... okay. Anyways. So, the Imp and Sandor Clegane are sitting on two very different sized steps.
Yeah, two different very sized steps. Yep.
The hunt is about to leave. Bobby B wants to go hunting and catch himself a deer or something.
Yeah, and Tyrion is complaining about being very hungover.
Yes. He says, if I don't, what was it?
Squirt
from one end or the other, it'll be a miracle.
It'll be a miracle.
Yeah, it's a really good line. Okay, so they're going off hunting.
Going hunting. Yay!
And
hunting.
Ed is happy, and Bran isn't, because he knows that all of his family is, separating out.
Yeah, all of his family is leaving. And Summer again. He's super cute.
Summer might be the best actor in these scenes.
Oh, he's super cute. Look at me, I'm going to chew on your lace. And once again, these clever little things that you can climb a wall with.
If Brandon the Builder had just designed this castle better...
Look, it's even got little hooks.
What would have happened.
And once again, he's so cute. Look at him. His cute little nose, his ears all perked up. Such a cute puppy.
Yes, a very cute puppy. I mean, I understand that these things have to be there. But, this castle was just built very poorly.
Yeah, we got to question Brandon the Builder.
That's right.
This thing gets burned down, so you can build a proper castle so no one can climb up it. And now he hears, actually he hears people, having sex.
Here he hears people having sex too?
In the books he doesn't, he hears them complaining.
Oh, is that what it is?
He hears them being like, plotting, really.
Oh, is that what happens?
The scene in the... in the very first scene you see them, where it's just this stupid scene around Jon Arryn the funeral of Jon Arryn. That scene, what they're discussing in that scene, is what he overhears. Is what they discuss
over here?
Yeah, what he overhears.
So this is just gratuitous, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, they start banging.
Okay, but it's not like the...
It's not like Bran hears them, and he climbs up to hear their thing, and then about partially through, he just starts tagging her.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he asks, how old are you?
And he's like 10.
10. Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it really sets the time difference, like the age difference.
And then he lets go of him, being like, I'm not killing a 10-year-old boy.
And he looks at Cersei, who's super scared. The things I do for love. And shoves Bran out a window.
Roll end credits.
That's the end of Season 1, Episode 1 of Game of Thrones. I know we didn't do a very good job breaking that down.
Oh, we did a terrible job. We were all over the place.
Yeah.
We kept discussing things.
Okay, so what are some of our thoughts on the first episode of the show?
Lannister's boring.
The Lannisters were really bad. Like, the only interesting thing they did was in the last 5 seconds of the episode.
Yeah.
Was the conflict with Bran pushing out the window. That's all they did. You get some, maybe, information that they did some stuff before the show started. Like, they poisoned Jon Arryn.
Now, Jon Arryn might have been poisoned by them. We don't know this for sure. They're just assuming this.
No, but Cersei and Jaime, you basically find out that Cersei had him killed in that scene in order to keep their secret safe. I mean, you have to read into it a little bit, but it's there that, Cersei had him killed.
Yep.
What did you think of the episode? Well, let's go back then. What did you think of the episode the first time you saw it?
Very confusing.
Yeah, didn't follow it at all, really.
Nope.
And a big part of that, I remember you telling me, was that all the characters looked alike.
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell any of the characters apart.
Yeah.
So, like, Robb and Jon, admittedly, look exactly the same.
Oh, they're brothers through and through.
And Theon looks like a kind of a more rascally Robb and Jon with lighter hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you really, like, those three characters, you would not be ashamed if you couldn't tell them apart.
Well, it's not even that, like, the way they look, it's the names that, like, there's so much politic and talk that they just throw out names all over the place, and I'm like, well, I don't know who.
That's true. Like, they're talking about Jon Arryn for a long portion of it, and you don't know who Jon Arryn is.
In fact, you don't even get to really put a face to it. The only face you get is this random dude with stones on his eyes. Like, who is this guy?
And they don't actually even say
address that's Jon Arryn.
It could just be anybody.
Yeah.
That was very poorly done, I think. I mean, it was exposition, which in a lot of ways is required. But that whole conversation could have happened in the last scene, the way it happens in the books, and they could have cut that out, rather than just necessarily having Jaime and Cersei having the sex during that time. They could have had them having that conversation. And it would have cut out a needless scene. They could have, not hired a bunch of extras that they didn't really need. Save a little bit of money. And then maybe they could have had the party scene with Khal Drogo.
Yeah, which would have put more into there.
Which would have actually given us some information about the Dothraki a bit more. It would have introduced those characters earlier on, like Jorah Mormont. Because we don't really have any idea why...
Yeah, but what would have been different than the party they showed with the wedding?
No, the wedding party still happens. It was the meeting Khal Drogo when he rides up on his horse and looks at her. In the books, that's a different scene. That happens at a party.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm asking what would be the difference between that party and the party they had at the wedding? Like, would they not just...
There wouldn't have been... There wasn't any sex. It was a party of nobility. It was like a...
Oh, okay.
It was a welcoming party, sort of thing.
That was... imagine, like, that was the Khal Drogo side of the group. That's how they party. And then this first party was how Major Illyrio... Magister Illyrio, whatever the hell his name is.
Think Magistrate.
Anyways, Illyrio and that group of people would have partied.
It would have been like a Pentoshi party and not a Dothraki party. It would have been more Eyes Wide Shutty, so to speak. I mean, not as obtuse, not as obviously sexual, but it would have had a lot more undercurrents of, like, politics and negotiation, rather than a man on a horse looking at a girl in a see-through dress and then riding away.
Yeah, because I didn't like that scene didn't really.
It doesn't really mean anything to you. No.
And then
the next time you see them, they're married and having a wedding party.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. Well, the fact that Daenerys is able to cultivate power around her says a lot more. She's asleep, I think. Says a lot more about her than anything to do with the culture that she finds herself in.
Yeah.
That's, I think, was my ultimate point, was that it goes to show that she is...
That herself is
she has the strength and not the position that she finds herself in. Whereas when you first meet her, her entire life is things just happening to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I think it's important for the story, but it also makes it a little difficult to get on her side at first. Because she kind of just lets her brother molest her. She kind of just, I mean, I'm not going to say she lets her husband rape her, because culturally and contextually that's a much different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she kind of just allows herself to be sold to this man. And all of this for some vague promise of a home that she's never known. Because she doesn't really have any concern for Westeros or what it means to be Westerosi. She's just an orphan.
Actually, I have a question for Kristina. If you saw that episode, would you watch that series? That was the first episode of that series, and that was you had no other part of it. Would you watch that series? No, that's right. No.
I was going to say no, too, because it took me a month to get her to watch episode 2.
Yeah.
That's a real good question. That, in all honesty, that's a terrible way to start a series.
Oh, it was awful.
It's... Okay. You were right. It's awful. It doesn't tell you anything about the characters except for, like, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And even so, they're not points enough to make you want to watch more.
Yeah, and they're not good characters yet.
Yeah, you don't know about these characters. You don't get behind Robb until after he becomes King of the North and after he starts to become a really cool character.
Like him anyway.
To be fair, I don't like Robb ever either. Okay, so Jon and Tyrion are probably the 2 most interesting characters.
At this point in the show, after the first episode, yeah, they're the ones you know the most about. You know, Tyrion is...
Lecherous.
Tyrion is lecherous. Really nothing happens in that first episode.
It was so bad. Okay, let's be honest. There was a lot of gratuitous boob. There was...
Which is typical of the HBO.
There was one beheading and some intestinal dissection.
Yes, I can't think of the actual word for that, but...
But there was some violence, a little bit of violence.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it was a bunch of characters you don't care about out of context.
Yes.
Because it doesn't describe any of the context of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Like that first, the prologue, the intro, with the Night's Watchman wandering up. That's the worst opening to a series ever.
I'm pretty sure when the next time it comes up, I asked you because I didn't remember that even happened.
You don't have to do the scene of these are the others, these are the major bad guys.
Except, are they?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
I mean, they appear in one scene in Season 2 and one scene in Season 3?
Yes. 2 scenes in Season 3.
Well, the final episode of Season 2
is
the battle at the Fist.
Battle at the Fist. Then there's the scene with
Sam
and Gully.
Sam and Gilly, yeah.
Gully.
And then what's the other one?
Fine then, 1 scene in Season 3.
So there's 3 scenes with others in the series so far.
So 30 episodes, 3 scenes.
And
there's a scene every time.
And they needed to start the show with that. That was the most important thing to introduce you to the Game of Thrones.
Let's get you hooked on it.
To get you hooked.
First thing is a scene that's...
A thing that's not going to appear for 20 more episodes!
Yes.
20 episodes will go by before you see the others again.
Yeah, it's quite terrible.
And that was the hook. The premise on which they wanted to sell you this show. This series, this epic, was a thing that's not going to appear again for 20 episodes, out of context, because they barely mentioned the Night's Watch in their conversations.
Mm-hmm. The Night's Watch doesn't really you don't get to meet the Night's Watch and see what the Night's Watch is about until Jon goes there. So why don't you just have them introduce the Night's Watch when Jon goes there? Mm-hmm.
That seems logical to me. Rather than, I mean, in the books I understand that in the books it's a prologue. That's not a chapter of the book.
No, that's not where they start the book.
Introducing source material.
Yes. That's just literally...
In the Wheel of Time, that is the wind blows and time flows and the Wheel of Time turns and things...
And ages
the more
come
things,
and pass.
Ages come and pass and the more things change, the less things stay the same or whatever.
Yeah.
That's contextually gibberish. Which is what the prologue is here. I mean, it introduces the concept of zombies as a big bad guy in the north. But there's no reason why they couldn't have started the show with something
that's where
even
the
better.
book starts.
What?
That's the start of the book. The first chapter is Bran when they go to behead the deserter.
Yes. The book starts properly, I would think. And the book actually introduces the characters a lot better, too.
The book introduces, because it's all through Bran's eyes. I think Bran is looking around at his family.
But at the same time, that's mostly exposition.
Yeah, it's mostly exposition. It's something you can't do in a TV show. That's.
But the prologue that they did, the pre-intro bit, was just completely needless.
No, you didn't.
They could have done a brief history of Westeros.
What? And they could even had that prologue in there. A brief history of Westeros, and then later on in the series, after Jon gets to Night Watch, put in there's men going out and arranging.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you have these three go out, and then you introduce the others. You can do that scene later in the show, after Jon's there, and you learn about the Night's Watch.
There's no need for it to be the first thing you see in this brand new TV show that 90% of the people watching the show don't really follow the books at all.
No, that's the thing, was that they were mentioning that is that most of the people that watch it don't read the books. They never read the books.
They don't read.
They don't read because it's America.
It's America. And in America, we shoot guns, drink beer, and watch titties.
We got titties, and there's no guns in this. So
titties, but there's bows and arrows. That's like medieval guns.
It's like medieval guns.
And they got beer.
And they got beer and wine.
Hey, Winterfell? That's America.
America.
That was probably offensive.
That's probably getting that's source material to get cut.
Or it's going to be the intro clip.
It's going to be
Winterfell. That might be the title of the episode. Winterfell, welcome to America.
Welcome to America. Winterfell, that's America. They got guns, they got bows and arrows. Those are prehistoric guns.
That Eric Stark, he like George W. Bush there.
Yeah, George W. Bush.
George W. Bush.
Okay.
Yeah. Mission accomplished, I say. America.
Oh God, that's so getting cut.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little bit.
So, you were saying that if you didn't have a boyfriend who was pestering you to watch the show, and you just stumbled upon it, you would not, from watching these 60 minutes, have any real interest in watching the next 60 minutes.
No, not really.
Like, none of the characters compelled you to keep going.
I mean, some of them, the concept or the situation that they were put in was interesting, but I don't know if there wasn't enough context of what was happening for me to be like, well, I need to watch the next one.
So
because they didn't really explain anything, it was just the idea of it was interesting.
Well, that's right. I mean, so far the first episode was a bunch of ideas that aren't fleshed out.
Mm.
A bunch of scenes that they never
like
really
the fact that
build
a girl's
on.
getting sold off to this
Mongol
warlord.
It's an interesting idea, but they didn't explain anything about her or that tribe or like.
And
it was
that's
just
very true. You're introduced to Daenerys by Robert's vendetta against the Targaryens. There's still one that lives, and you actually at that point you still don't know why he's angry with the Targaryens.
Do you know what they should have done, honestly? And Benioff and Weiss, I'm sure that they're really smart. I'm sure that they're the best in the world or whatever. They're the CM Punk of HBO. What they should have done is explain the context in flashbacks. They should have losted this motherfucker.
I don't know, but...
No, but hear me out, okay?
Okay, keep going.
Instead of just reading that book as a screenplay, because you can't do that on TV, they could have had a conversation and then, like, Robert and Eddard they talk about the Trident, and Robert says, there are times I wish we didn't win on the Trident. And then you can just go to a scene where Robert is smashing in the breastplate of Rhaegar Targaryen, and the rubies go flying into the ruby ford, and they...
That's right. Actually, he mentions that scene where he does that every night.
That's right. He says, every night I kill Rhaegar Targaryen for what he did to Lyanna.
Yeah, in my dreams I kill
Rhaegar.
Rhaegar.
And 1,000 deaths aren't enough. And then you can go to
to
his
the
dream.
scene of them fighting, and then you see the big hammer swing him, knock him down, and drive his hammer through his chest.
I feel as though they left a lot of context on the floor. There was a lot that they could have done with this show in order to explain why you're supposed to care. I don't know. I just feel as though I've watched it 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, this will be the 3rd time I've watched it.
This season I've watched 4 times, the 2nd season I've watched twice, and the 3rd season I've watched twice.
I've only seen the 3rd season once. Actually, I've only seen the second and 3rd season once.
Well, then you're going to be in for a treat, because Catelyn walks a lot in the 2nd and 3rd seasons as well.
Fuck buckets.
I've read the books a bunch, the books. Okay. I should have started this with a caveat. The TV show is good. The books are just miles better because they actually make you care about these characters. Mm-hmm. I don't understand all the people that got really upset when the Starks die in the Red Wedding. Because there is nothing that happens.
Yes.
That makes you care one iota for Robb or Catelyn Stark.
Yeah. To the point where...
Do you agree?
For the most part, yes.
I mean, when the Red Wedding happened, when that scene came about, you were just like, oh.
Sugar beans!
You're just like, sugar beans! You were literally just like, oh, that happened. More blood, more gore.
More murder porn.
Murder porn, that's right. That is George R.R. Martin's trademark, is murder porn.
Same thing as I knew one of the other guys, he was saying that he had a group of people that were all watching it at the same time together. And he was waiting for that scene to happen. Like, when the season 3 started, he was all excited. He was, like, brooding excited. Like, I can't wait for the Red Wedding, because I'm just going to break all the girls in the group. Well, the scene happened, they're all just like, meh. And he's just like, really? Like, there was full, like, hate for George R.R. Martin when the scene was written in the books. Like, at the same time, when Book 3 came out and everyone read The Red Wedding, it was full, like, masochistic son of a bitch, right?
Yeah.
You just kill people for fun. You're like, you don't care about anything. We're getting really invested in this character, and you just kill them all off, right? Just full rage. There was never that scene for the TV show because at that point, the characters didn't matter to them.
It's true. I mean, I don't know.
All of us that read the books, we were sitting there patiently waiting for all the people watching the TV show. We're like, you're gonna freak the fuck out. It's gonna be hilarious.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. No one did.
Because who gives a fuck about old lady Stark?
All she does is walk, apparently.
She walks and she cries.
Mm-hmm.
She is the most bipolar.
That being said, I really, really disliked Robb's queen.
Talisa?
Whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I didn't like her.
Is that her name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure her name in the show is Talisa.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever even heard anybody say her name.
That's how
But
important.
that's the issue, is they don't ever... Okay.
Don't worry if she gets stabbed in the womb.
This show is really, really good at expecting you to already know everything.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's not going to tell you what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
No, that's probably the biggest part of the show, is it expects you to have read the books.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of the reason why the Unsullied, if they don't already love the source material, there's no reason for them to love the source material.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am going to make you sit through this 29 more times at least.
Well, yeah, I've already watched it.
Well, yeah, you've watched all 30 episodes already, so it's not a real burden. And we'll watch Season 4, and Season 4 should be better than Seasons 1 and 2.
I would hope so.
I thought Season 3 was pretty good.
I enjoyed Season 3.
But maybe it wasn't very good. We'll see, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just as bad as this episode.
Like I say, I enjoyed Season 3, but maybe I just given, at that point, like, I didn't...
Just give it credit. I think. I think at that point we just give it credit. So, by the end of Season 3, you were supposed to love Jaime Lannister. He was supposed to be a good guy. Did you have any emotion whatsoever for Jaime Lannister?
He loses his hand and everything. You're supposed to see him broken.
I don't think I had as much as they wanted me to have.
Yeah, because you're supposed to actually really like Jaime Lannister, because he's becomes one of the good guys in the books. He's quite important in the books.
Yeah, but he kept warning me about that.
I think maybe I did, because
You're like, you're gonna like him by the end of this season. I'm like, oh, okay, if you can say so.
Because, I mean, honestly, you should have. The show is terrible at explaining why you're supposed to care.
Yeah.
It just expects you to already care.
Did you want to cover anything that we wish would be different in the...
Oh, yeah, the show notes. I have show notes.
Things we wish would be... Things we wish would have been different, things that we're glad that they changed.
Okay, things that I'm glad that they changed is the ages of all of the female actresses.
Thank fuck. Because that's really awkward at times.
Because I don't want to see any 13-year-old itty-bitty titties on my TV screen. That's gross. And you can't get behind Khaleesi when she's 13. Even when I'm reading the books, I picture her older than that.
And as she is turning into Emilia Clarke in my mind.
Yeah, as I read the books, like I started rereading the books again for this process, and I'm reading them, and I just picture Emilia Clarke and not anything else. Like, first time I read the books, I pictured just some generic blonde woman, I guess. But yeah, I think that is the best decision they made creatively, was aging the characters by 3 to 6 years.
3 to 6 years. So that actually, it's not icky.
Thankfully.
Thankfully, it's not icky. Now, I think we covered a bit of things we changed. Things we were glad they changed. Or
things we wish that they had done differently, we covered a lot of.
A lot of. Which is mainly, well...
I wish that they had explained more.
Everything. The explanation they didn't do.
And the bad intro.
And the terrible way it started.
Oh, so terrible.
Ugh.
I liked... So we got to things we wish had been different, things we are glad they changed. Was there anything that you would like to point out that you are glad that they changed? I took the easy one.
You took the easy one. Do
you like how poorly constructed Winterfell Castle was?
Yeah, that's the comments. I've commented during is how poorly constructed Winterfell Castle is. It's how it has these nice ports that you can climb the castle walls in. This makes total sense for medieval castles. You don't want people to get in. That's a fantastic thing they changed. My furious shaking of mine head.
Things they changed.
Changed. In the first episode, what else is there that they really changed?
Nothing happens in the first episode.
Nothing happens in the first episode. There's nothing in there that they changed significantly. The addition of that scene at the front, I didn't like it, so that's again something
with the Lannisters.
The Lannisters, I didn't like it there. Mind you, it would have been...
I could have liked it if there had been context.
If there had been context, yeah.
If they had actually told us why the scene was important.
In truth, I would have liked it if they portrayed it like it was in the book. Get it out of context from Bran's ears as he's climbing the wall.
Yes.
It would have been out of context.
Yeah.
It would fit the scene because you're learning it from his point of view.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known what they're talking about, so it would have been like, what are they talking about? What did Bran hear? And then you see them having sex. You're like, well, what's going on? And then he throws them in the window. So you're really like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
It really ties you into what did they discuss? Mm-hmm. What is them being together? Like, why is that so bad? I mean, they're brother and sister, so it's really awkward.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, really awkward.
I mean, not I guess, it's bad.
yeah. So it's really awkward that they're brother and sisters together. And it's just like, is just the incest enough to be like, oh, we're trying to hide this, and we just throw the kid out, the 10-year-old kid out the door window. Or was it what they were discussing that they might have heard?
That's right. Like, in the books, there is so much more to all of the scenes. Mm-hmm. There is exposition and narration that gives us context for the dialogue. Mm-hmm. In the show, there's pretty background scenery and dialogue. Mm-hmm. There is no context given. And that's the number one thing that I would have changed, is give the show more, I hate to use the word depth, but give the show more depth. It was incredibly shallow. Mm-hmm. Every scene was surface deep. It was just It was just dialogue.
The start of the newest King Arthur movie had a wonderful scene in the beginning, looking at a map.
Newest King Arthur movie? Is that the Sean Connery one? Or like the Keira Knightley one?
The one with Keira Knightley and Clive Owen.
Are we actually going to use the phrase?
And that isn't new, is it? That's like 10 years old now, isn't it?
Close.
Anyways, the King Arthur movie, when they had the opening scene where you saw the map, and you saw basically the map burning in places and horses running across the map.
Yeah.
If you did a scene like that to start the TV show, fantastic.
Yeah, like, even just do that with Robert's Rebellion.
Yeah, Robert's Rebellion going across of Westeros.
And then you can have, like, the ship sailing across the narrow sea, and then...
Have it being narrated by Ned, and then Ned teaching it to Bran.
Yes, teaching Bran the history of
the kingdom.
Yeah.
And then in comes Sir, they found him. And
they found
who? Oh, the deserter. Come, boy, get your cloak, whatever.
Yeah. You're joining me in this
You're joining me. This time you get to see King's Justice.
That's right, exactly.
And then cut to the scene of them.
That would have been a thing.
That would have been a thing.
And then go...
And then you get into the really cool opening.
Yeah.
Then you get the scene of them...
riding out from
Winterfell to the scene of beheading Will. Or Garen, whoever. It can be a Night's Watchman. It doesn't have to be Will.
Some Night's Watchman, yeah.
So I think that was a thing.
Okay. So that's going to be all for the Cast in the Darkness for this week. As always, please check out the blog at castinthedarkness.wordpress.com and check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/castinthedarkness.
I would have screwed up one of those.
Was there anything else that I need to pimp? Oh yeah, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Esther Nayfill. I'm not going to spell it for you. You can find it on the website.
I'm at Clayton Flint.
It's pretty easy to spell that.
Yeah.
You're not on Twitter yet, are you? No, she's shaking her head. So,
again,
you can't find her on Twitter. But, you'll probably be able to find her here. Probably once a month or so we'll do this.
Yeah.
So, for the Cast in the Darkness, I'm Matt.
I'm Clay.
I'm Kristina.
Until next time, keep your stick on the ice.
That's really how you're ending this?
Three, 2, 1.
Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall wear no crowns, and win no glory. I shall live and die at my post. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the shield that guards the realms of men. I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch for this night and all nights to come. I am the fire that burns against the coal, the light that brings dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the men of the one.
Really? Okay, well let's just read from yours then. Yours is longer than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So where do you want to start at again?
The start.
Start. Alright, so.
3, 2, 1. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. Okay.
Fuck.
3. Okay, you good?
Good.
3, 2, 1. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end. Motherfucker.
You son of a bitch.
Okay, I'm gonna turn that to mute.
Alright.
3, 2, 1. Night gathers. Okay, so these are all getting cut up,
Yes, I do. Alright.
Okay. Give me a second.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Night. How many times do we have to say night gathers?
All the time.
Okay.